The following talk was given at Mile High Church in Lakewood, Colorado. Please visit our website at milehighchurch.org.
Good morning and welcome to Mile High Church. It's a great joy always to come back to the church that Erica and I called our spiritual home for a long time, and we still do. And I love you, and I wish you were here to hug, but as Dr. Michelle shared, just feel the hugs and the activity of our heart. I just want to, again, acknowledge the incredible job that Dr. Michelle and Reverend Josh are doing, along with their team of ministers and the incredible staff and the board of trustees and all the practitioners here who are doing to lead this church forward, even in these times that are difficult and unprecedented. I'm so impressed and so delighted, and we're blessed. We are really blessed. It's a joy to be with you here today. My topic is the spark that never goes out. The spark that never goes out. You know, for many years, anthropologists and social scientists have debated over what was the most important discovery that led to the survival and the ascent of humankind. Now, some would argue that the most important discovery was the wheel, because it allowed us to move greater burdens and it opened up transportation. Then there are those who would contend that it was the printing press, because finally information wasn't held back and that the masses could have knowledge and could grow. Some very wise people have suggested it was the advent of the banjo. And being one who is a player, I would think that that's got to be right up there at the top. But most agree that the discovery that surpasses them all is the discovery that a spark can be kindled into fire. And with fire, our ancestors now had light and warmth and could cook better and had protection. The new challenge was that the spark had to be tended or the fire would be lost. We are in times of just amazing challenge. Amazing challenges individually, we all are experiencing them, and collectively. Of course, there's this global pandemic we've been dealing with these months. There's economic uncertainty, environmental uncertainty. People have experienced significant losses and setbacks. And if you're one of those, my heart goes out to you. And as after we're done here today, I just invite you to browse through the Mile High Church website and avail yourself of all the sources of support that are right here. You don't have to go it alone. And then now, there's this surging up of a new awareness of racial inequities and injustices, and the calls for profound changes in the deep psyche of our country, our culture, and indeed of all humankind, in intense challenges. And some worry, in the face of all of this, that the fire of our courage, our creativity, our caring has gone out. But I say that what's really needed is a new spark, leading us to a new energy that can not only save us, but renew us, lift us up. And more than anything, a new energy to evolve us. A special friend passed over into the greater dimensions about a little over a year ago, and her name was Barbara Marks Hubbard. I worked in various projects and organizations with her for many years. And Barbara, one of the most amazing futurists and social scientists, and she wrote a landmark book, Conscious Evolution. And in this book, Barbara teaches us that chaos and crisis precede transformation. And that when nature arrives at a limitation, It doesn't just adapt. It innovates and transforms. And she suggests then that our problems, ancient and current, are evolutionary drivers, calling us to become more and to reveal more of the potentiality that is within us. Well, I tell you what, we're in the presence of a lot of evolutionary drivers right now, without a doubt. And looking back over my own life, I see that the times, I reflect upon the times when I was confused, times I've been challenged, down on myself at times. I could see times when I was heartbroken. And even at this choice to retire about it a little over a year ago, that was Spirit-led and so right at a deep level, and yet at the level of my humanness, it was really tough. And yet, in all of that, as I think about that change and as I look back over all my life, I see that all the difficulties and all of the changes have been calls to evolve. Calls to evolve, to dig in deeper to that which I really am and to find that something that's truer, something that's ready to blossom and to bring forth even more light and more the expression of the livingness of the Spirit. Calls to evolve, and that has been happening for me. That deepening and that growth has been happening, and I am evolving, and I'm getting ready to find new ways. I'm launching new ways to teach and to serve. So what are the calls to evolve for you right now? Can you shift your perspective of the things that have been dumped on you to opportunities for evolving? Now there's a key in this that can support this quest of life to evolve us and to evolve all of life. And here's the key. There is a spark of divinity in you and me. And that's the spark that never goes out. Now, this spark of divinity, fueled into a flame, is our resource for new vision, for creativity, for courage, and for allowing something more in us to be birthed. So when we feel the call to evolve, we have to go beyond our sense of a limited, separated little human being to that deeper truth that we are a magnificent spark of the divine, a spiritual being, endowed and imbued with qualities and possibilities and characteristics greater than we have ever imagined or ever will be able to express. That's how deep is the well. I quote from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, "The spark which burns at the center of our own soul is caught from the living and eternal flame of the Spirit. There is a light at the center of everyone." I want to pause here for a second. As we have this time together, I just invite you to sense that no matter what you face or where you've been in awareness, sense this light. Sense this spiritual something that's more than our everyday worldly awareness, that has been active whenever we took great leaps. Sense the light in you. Reconnect or deepen your connection with this light. Back to Ernest, he said, "There is a light at the center of everyone. This light is never obliterated, but it does seem that it is often obscured for various reasons. Seems like we've been good as a species to obscure that light, but it never goes out. And it's there when you need it most, and maybe it's right now. That's why the great teacher, master teacher Jesus, he said, don't put your light under a bushel basket. You are the light of the world. Let your light shine." So we're here not just to have what we want, But the name of the game of being a spiritually inspired being, a conscious expression of God, is that we are here to become. And becoming is so much more than putting Band-Aids on problems, or sweeping problems under the rug, or just getting by. No, it's about becoming. It's about yielding. It's about opening and fanning that spark of higher life in us, the greater self, and allowing it to inspire us and guide us and lead us. So I've got some suggestions today for how to fan the flame of the Spirit within you. Fan that flame of Spirit. And the first suggestion is let go of why. Let go of why. We often, when things happen, get caught up in that question of why. Why is this happening? Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to us? Why now? Why? The problem with that question is that we're probably not in a space of awareness to have the answer, or we probably would have it. Oftentimes, my sense of why things have unfolded in my life only came after I had become more, had actually done that growing and could look from that greater vantage point at what was going on. But if you keep asking why when you're in the thick of it, it's like quicksand. And you sink into it, and you just get more aligned with victimhood in the thing. An author wrote about a time when she came out of 6 months of deep depression. Her second granddaughter at the age of 2 had died, and she'd been praying for her recovery, and she just hit the pits, as we can certainly understand and feel compassion for. But she had a spark happen, and it was like that little sprout that finds a way, nonetheless, to get through that concrete and into the light. And she had this spark that brought her out of it. And she wrote about her insights. She said, "When life hands us situations we cannot understand, we have one of two choices. We can wallow in misery, feeling separated from God, or we can declare, God, I need to feel your presence now more than I need understanding. I choose God, and I trust that I'll know what I need to know when I need to know it." And it was that choice to fan the spark of her spiritual nature into a radiance and a healing energy within her that lifted her. So the first thing I would encourage you to do is let go of why. You may have insights into that later on, but let go of why. And secondly, another area of let go, shed an old skin. Shed an old skin. Whenever we're in times of becoming and challenging times, life is inviting us into profound newness. Joseph Campbell, such a great light on our planet, he said, we must be willing to get rid of the life we've planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. The old skin has to be shed before the new one can come. So I ask you then, what old skin is it time to discard? You know, as we move into newness, we can't really take old baggage with us. It's contrary to the newness that we might say we're about. So often when life is inviting us into newness, the great question is, what do I need to let go of and grow beyond that can't be a part of the newness? Collectively, obviously, it's time for us to realize and grow beyond racial bigotry. And I would add religious bigotry. And the time is way past for this. It's time to shed that skin and mature our awareness as a culture and as a species. And individually, at the individual level, life is always encouraging us to move out of the little concept of ourself that our minds weave, the ego self, and to awaken the inherent greatness within us, to become what Deepak Chopra in his latest book calls the meta-human. Not just Homo sapiens, but the meta-human. And again, Barbara Marx Hubbard had a lot to say about that. She said that in order to have the kind of emergence and evolution we seek, we really do have to have a shift of identity. We have to shift out of the egoic, self-conscious, fear-based being who believes in separation and relies on violence and aggression and competition to make his or her way. And we have to awaken to that part of us which is from the central flames of the universe, as Dr. Holmes put it. That is a part of the universal one that is discovered in our hearts and that can draw upon infinite mind for higher ideas and expanded possibilities and can be the avenue, the conduit through which they can flow. That's the identity shift from creature human to co-creative spiritual being, working with the divine to create the next steps. So once again, I ask you, what is it time to let go of? What's the nature of the old skin to be shed? Is it lots of old negative beliefs about yourself and about life? Is it traditions of limitation? Do you hear yourself often saying, I'm just this, or I'm just that, or I'm too old, or I'm too young, or if you'd had my upbringing, you'd, or if you had to face what I'm facing. Traditions of limitation, which in their deepest level are excuses. Is it time to shed that? How about our resistances, our fears, our holding back? Is it time to shed some old biases and prejudices? Is it time to step beyond the teachings of your upbringing and your programming and to awaken to more? And is it time to let go of resentment, bitterness? One of the most moving examples of this is Nelson Mandela, working to bring down apartheid in South Africa, and he was imprisoned. And he spent 26 years in prison. Imagine that. Separated from your family, hard labor, 26 years until apartheid fell, and he and others who were imprisoned unnecessarily were released. But he had great wisdom. And he wrote, as I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew that if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. Let's not stay imprisoned. What is it time to leave behind so that there's a clear space for the evolutionary impulse to have its way? You may not know what it's going to look like, but you know what's got to be released. I think in your heart of hearts you know this. See it, claim it, let it go. Shed that old skin. The third thing then, we're ready then to open to healing love. I beat this drum a lot whenever I speak or write, and it's that love is the great elixir. Love is the very activity of the divine. And I'm not talking about romantic love or mushy love or any of that stuff, sexual love or any of that. I'm talking about the love that is God, the love that's the cohesive force in this universe, the love that's the ultimate reality. And to open our hearts to that healing love is to gain access to vast creative resources in our life. Because the heart is the portal to the infinite intelligence. The heart is the portal to the evolutionary potential within us. It's in the heart that we not just think about God or believe in God, but we know and experience God, both in its pure essence and in life around us. When we let go of a bunch of stuff, we're ready to open to healing, expansive, evolutionary love. In the late 90s, a group of ministers I was a part of, we created an organization called the Association for Global New Thought. We had visions of this organization doing what it exactly did, reaching out into the world, making connections with other like-minded groups and teachers and scientists, and bringing new thought into the world. And one of our first projects, which we began in 1998, was the season for nonviolence. And we created this in partnership with Arun Gandhi, the grandson of Mahatma Gandhi. And we created it to honor the 64-day period between the death dates of Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. And the whole idea was to familiarize the principles and approaches of nonviolent social change, the change that Gandhi and Martin Luther King and Cesar Chavez and His Holiness the Dalai Lama were all about. And so we were the first, Mile High Church was the first to bring the season for nonviolence to Denver. This program, by the way, is still going on around the globe. We were the first to bring it here. And we had a terrific steering committee, and they created publicity and events and classes and did a whole lot of work with youth as well. It was beautiful. And then in the second year, we not only brought Arun Gandhi back for the season, our number 2 season, we also brought in a lovely couple named Aisha and Kokoman Klate. And I think you may be seeing a picture of them. Yes, there they are, Aisha and Kokoman Klate. They had founded and still operate a center in Oakland, California called the Attitudinal Healing Connection. And in addition to prospering their arts, by the way, Kokoman is an amazing drummer, but they also had been doing racial healing circles. They've been doing those now for 30 years. So we brought the Klates here, and they spoke, and then they led on a Saturday a racial healing circle. And we invited folks, and about 60 attended, and I was one of them. And I got partnered in the process of this day. I got partnered with a lovely black lady in her 60s named Ruth. Ruth. I spent about an hour with her. That changed my life. I mean, I had rationally known about discrimination and injustice and the segregation and all the appalling things that had gone on. But what I got to be present to, as Ruth and I were together, was her personal experience of it, but moreover, her pain and her fear and her sadness. That took me deep. It was like I had a little bit of a walk in her shoes. Nothing like what she experienced. But I was able to partake in that. And it touched me so deeply. It taught me. It taught me. And so I'll always remember that. That changed my ministry. And it still affects me to this day. But here's the real thing about that encounter. In that hour, because we were both listening, I listened to her. I listened. I didn't judge. I didn't analyze. I just was present to her. We bonded. Oh, I tell you, there was such an incredible bond of love between us. And it endured in the years that followed. Whenever I'd see Ruthie right out in our lobby, we'd connect and I could feel it. Something, our hearts had joined. And we were connected. Now, she had moved away to another state to be with family, and I think she's passed away now. But Ruthie lives in my heart. I still feel bonded to her. We can open to healing love. And Reverend Cynthia suggested conversations. I'd totally support that. But here's what I'd suggest. Do more listening than talking. Find people who are different, believe differently, and just listen. And it's not about belief systems and the battle of ideas as much as it's what's been your walk? What's been your journey? I'm here to listen from my heart. It's not about agreeing or disagreeing. It's being present. And then in so doing, something connects. And I feel the world needs this so much. Open to healing love. And one more thing. Light up the moment. You might say, oh, this all seems bigger than me. And I'm dealing with my own stuff. But you know what? When you learn to fan the flame of your divinity, you have the capacity to light up life wherever you are, with whomever you're with. You have that capacity. I remember that miners, when they wear their helmets, they have a little light up here. Now, they're in this long, dark mine shaft, and they can't see all of what's going on down there, but they've got enough light around them to do what they need to do. So do we. The more we open our hearts and make ourselves available, we can shine light where we are. Maybe it's shining the light of kindness and caring. Maybe it's acts of kindness. Perhaps it's getting involved in nonviolent change efforts. Perhaps it's cultivating a new vision. Maybe it's to speak out and stand up in the presence of bigotry. Wherever we are, we have the capacity to shine light. And there'll be people who will criticize you, maybe even call you nuts. Listen, I've been called nuts plenty of times over the years. Sometimes they were right. But you know what? I always remember my acronym. You know I'd have to lay one of these on you today. My acronym for nuts is never underestimating the Spirit. But I want to amend that just a little bit today. It's also never underestimating the spark. The spark that can be fanned into a flame to illumine you, to show you higher possibilities, to make you an avenue for good wherever you are. And you know what happens? The more we stand for this kind of stuff, our lives begin to be so big, is that the current problems we were just focused on, they handle themselves in many cases. So stay strong. Don't get discouraged. Shine light wherever you are, however you can, from your awakened heart, from your sense that you're a twin flame with whomever you're with. And don't worry if they call you nuts. Somebody said, stay dedicated. The mighty oak was once a little nut that held its ground. Yeah, stay dedicated. So today, just sense that flame within you. Give it equal time to looking at the problems in your life or around the world, because here's where we can fan the flame of becoming. Here's where we can give over our lives to their next stages. Here's where love can abound. Here's where light can shine for us. So let go of why. Yeah. Shed an old skin and all the elements that you're ready to go beyond. Open to healing love. And light up the moment. I close with these towering words of Ernest Holmes. It is basic to our belief that the divine, hid within us as presence, is revealed through the person like a flaming sword, landing in the mundane clod and impregnating it with that spark which Browning said a person may desecrate but never quite lose. A divine spark ignited at the altar of a cosmic fire. Join me in a prayer. O infinite, eternal light divine, in this healing moment, we recognize the light within, born of the spark from the eternal flame. A spark that never goes out and waits for our loving attention, permission to become a great light, a warming energy, a healing guide upon our path. This day we go deep. And we sense this beautiful truth of all truths. I and the Father and Mother of the universe are one. Know and affirm with me, I accept guidance. I accept that the warmth of the Spirit within me illumines my consciousness, opens my heart, and prepares the way before me to move forward purposefully, powerfully, lovingly. I affirm that my life is here for God. Use me, as Jennifer said. Use me. I'm ready to be, ready to grow, ready to share, ready to know. And I dedicate myself to seeing that light in all others. Oh, infinite Spirit, I accept healing and growth. And dedicate myself to the giving of that growth and that light to all around me. And I accept a world of peace and wholeness, a world that works for everyone. For the grace of this truth abiding in me and moving out from me and from many, many millions of others, I do give thanks. And in honor of the truth, I gratefully release this to the natural unfoldment in form that is always the effort of consciousness. And I say, thank you, God. And wherever you are, I just invite you to declare with me, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are. Amen.
Thank you for listening to the Mile High Church podcast. This podcast is made possible by the generous contributions from listeners like you. If you'd like to make a donation, please visit us at milehighchurch.org. Have a fabulous day.